Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Breath Talks. And today I'm being joined with Chris Edward. Now, Chris has had this absolutely phenomenal journey where he stepped outside of the corporate legal system, claimed back his power, and it sparked a spiritual awakening, which eventually, you got to breath work too, didn't you? But let's just start and go back and tell everybody about what happened when you finally decided, I'm not paying this.
Yeah, so it was 2014 and I was at my friend's house and he kept pestering me, telling me that we didn't have to pay parking tickets, And I was actually getting quite upset because I didn't want to hear it at the time. And eventually he sat me down in front of a courtroom scene in an American court, and I listened to the language this guy was speaking. And the penny dropped for me that there was a way that we can articulate our way through law. And then that began my journey of like years and years and years of studying, and in not realizing the legal name and realizing that we weren't the corporate entities and the birth certificates and all of those things, caused my mind to spiral into, well, if I'm not that, then what is this experience?
So just explain that a bit for people that don't understand that actually this piece of paper ain't us.
That's right. Yeah, when we sign a birth certificate, we get registered to the Queen or to the state, and then we've got 7 years to claim that back. And on our 7th birthday, we get made into a legal corporation, which gives us the block capital names. And this is a trust account that we are held responsible for. And we spend our whole lives as human beings, spend our whole lives carrying this piece of paper around and identifying with the legal corporate name. And this was just baffling to me that this was even a thing. And yeah, 16...
I mean, most people would be in complete disbelief at this, that this can actually happen.
Yeah, and it's really, what's really funny is the people who have done this have actually gone on the presumption of law, and it's a presumption, a very high up, that they assume that we're okay with it. So we're born into it and we're signing our life away, and they just assume at the top that that's the way it is and we're happy to do it. So it's nobody's fault technically, because they've written it into law that there's a loophole that they get off.
So can you explain a bit about the Great Fire of London?
Yeah, so 1666, there was a Great Fire of London, and there was a lot of records lost. And this was when they put the first act in place. This was a presumption of law. It was 1666, and they pretty much not declared, but they announced that everyone was dead and that they had 7 years to come back and claim their living title.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
so the Great Fire of London was this smoke screen for what was really happening.
Yeah, and it's I've got to the point now where I see it as genius level.
Yeah, it is.
It's genius level manipulation and control.
Absolutely.
It's genius level. And then you see all of the acts, parliamentary acts since 1666. And that's why we're in a pickle today, because it's just acts on top of acts on top of statutes on top of, for hundreds and hundreds of years, 27 generations of people from that day to this.
Yeah.
And to be able to maintain it, that's why I take my hat off to the... It's very intelligent.
So what you realized is that this is the law of the sea that had been adopted and the ships brought onto land, the vessels, shall I say, the vessels.
Yeah, and the berth, that's why it's called a berth. The boat berths by the doctor.
Yeah.
And this is why we are birthed out of the canal.
Birthing canal, exactly.
And the doctor signs the birth certificate, which is cargo. So we're essentially cargo for the Queen Corporation. And it's really simple when you understand it. And it's my whole movement, what I'm working on most of my teachings are about getting people out of the mindset that they don't need to pay these fines and charges and bills, and they don't need to go to court if they don't want to. And it's simply you knowing that you are powerful.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to bow down to anyone, and you don't have to allow other people to have authority over you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dominion over yourself. And
That's right.
so it sparked a spiritual awakening for you. And now that's usually the other way around, is that you go inside and realize the constraints of your mind, and then you can turn it into your outside. But you were in the outside and then it went in.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It just, the question, and it's just around about the time I met my current wife, and
Mm,
we went to India together, and that was the beginning of an unraveling unlike anything I'd ever thought possible. And it was
yeah.
lots of fasting and silence and meditation and yoga and years of reading spiritual philosophy in order to understand myself. So,
Yeah.
mm.
Fantastic. So what happened then?
Well, the rabbit hole is once you're in the spiritual rabbit hole. In fact, there was a period that I went through all of these law stuff and I was practicing everything that I was
Mm.
learning. So I was being arrested a lot of times. I
Oh,
went to
yeah.
court. Yeah, I've been arrested 27 times. I got at one point there was 15 warrants out for my arrest, and I had nearly £100,000 worth of fines for
Mm.
no insurance, no tax, no MOT, no license plates, no driver's license, and I just kept going through the process over and over again to see if I could use the legal language to go to court and get myself out of the situation.
Yeah. So there is one. So just to explain to everyone that you actually didn't register your car, which was great. Yeah. And you had your own number plate. Is that
That's
correct?
right. I had my own
Yeah.
number plate, and because the police aren't trained on a society level, the police are not trained to deal with people who are outside of the system. They immediately arrest you, process your car, and then they charge you for crimes
Yeah.
in their area. But I knew there's every time I go to talk to a judge, I would ultimately just ask the question, well, for a start, you don't speak your name, you don't sign anything, and you don't agree to any of the court's terms and conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And then was a really amazing moment where I learned that if I just ask the judge, is there a victim in this case? And the judge is like, no. Well, if there's no victim and I haven't caused a loss, harm, or injury to another human being, then why am I in a courtroom?
Yeah.
Because
Why is this a crime?
exactly. And I got after about the 10th and then the 13th and then the 20th time in court, I just learned the lingo, and there is literally nothing anyone can do to you at all.
No. Did you ever get compensation for the cars that they crushed?
people ask this question all the time, and I wasn't in it for the money. I was
No.
in it for the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my cars were only costing me a couple of hundred to go, 200,
Okay.
300,
Yeah.
500, like, because
Yeah.
I knew I was going to take the license plates off them and do that journey. So
Right. Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
valuable experience for sure.
Absolutely. The power within you. How did it feel? And what did you go through?
I think getting to the point where the judge, I was arrested when I came back into England, and they
Yeah.
took me in handcuffs to the court, and they
Yeah.
stood me in front of a judge because I hadn't been going to court in 2 years. I'd just been throwing all the letters in the bin,
Hmm.
and eventually they took me to court, and I made a deal with the court,
Yeah.
and the deal was he knew that if he sent me to jail, I would come out of jail and sue him.
Yeah.
So I just said to him, just be careful what judgment you place against me, because I'll come out of jail and you'll lose your job. Like, and he knew me at that point because it'd been years and years, and he knew not to do that. And then I said I would never pay the fines,
Wow.
and he went okay. So then we kind of got into this stalemate situation, and then I agreed, look, I've proved my point at this point. So I'll just go back and get a driver's license, tax, MOT, insurance,
Hmm.
and but you just have to get rid of the fines. And they said that was fine, and they wiped all of the fines. And I left the
Probably
courtroom.
took it out of your trust.
Well, there's, at that level, they don't even care about money. Like
Yeah.
it's an exercise of authority for them.
Yeah.
The state doesn't need money; they've got unlimited money.
No.
It's
No.
just about the extraction process for them extracting
Yeah.
money out of us. So once you put your foot down and you say, I'll never ever pay the money, the game is over.
Yeah.
All they really want is your money.
Yeah.
They want your energy. They want your time and energy. And that's how they get it. So
And that's what it's all about, is extracting the energy that you're
it's,
slaving away
yep,
in jobs that you're paying so much tax already, tax on everything.
that's on everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
extracting, and there's an old book from the 12th century, and they talk about the banking families being time lords.
Wow.
They talk about they're the lords of time because the
Yeah.
banking families extract our time out of us.
Oh my goodness. What's this book called?
I'll have to remember it. It was just
Yeah.
random.
Fantastic.
So
I haven't heard that before. That's really
it's a tiny
interesting.
little chapter in this PDF that I was reading online. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So, and you came across breathwork
Yeah. So I mean,
on your journey.
yeah, when you go through healing trauma,
Mm.
and I was in India and I was doing pranayama and doing reading,
Yeah.
and you just get into meditation, and breathing and meditation are like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went through a whole series of learning different breathwork techniques, and mostly pranayama. But
Yeah.
then Wim Hof came along, and I did loads of Wim Hof breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
just really finding my own way through breathwork
Yeah.
because I have a deviated septum. I can't breathe through one of my nostrils.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can see.
it's really, really random. So my
Yeah.
breath work has always been quite a task for me.
Is it which one, left or right?
This one's blocked. This one I can
Okay,
control.
left. Oh, the feminine side.
Yeah, perfect.
Interesting.
Maybe it was just meant to be that way, you know.
Yeah, well, it is, because my left side's not blocked, but it's a lot less air goes through it, and it does impact your life.
For sure, for sure.
Like, I've
I had to
always had
squeeze
to
my.
be very masculine and very, go out, be independent. And if I sit there and actually deliberately try and breathe through my left, I start feeling a lot more chilled and
Yeah,
receptive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just come out of your head and more down into your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because when you practice pranayama and you learn the different
Mm-hmm.
the different techniques, you realize that that is literally this nostril is literally opening up this part of your brain.
Yes.
You literally
And
feel
then balancing the hemispheres. Yeah.
the hemisync through the different
Yeah.
nostrils.
Especially the
Yeah,
alternate nostril breathing is fantastic.
yeah, fire
Yeah.
breath as well.
Yeah.
So
So
breath work, yeah.
what deep experiences did you have in India? Like, really profound things that the logical mind just wouldn't be able to explain, and you had to go, wow, that just happened.
I did Vipassana,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if for anyone who doesn't know that, that's 10 days of
Mm.
silence, no eye contact with anyone. You pretty much live like a monk for 10 days.
Yeah.
And it's 10 and a half hours a day of silent meditation with your eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
So the first couple of days was intense, but day 4 and 5, the headache went away, and I started having these amazing, what felt like I was observing myself from a different position,
Mm-hmm.
as if I was viewing my own existence from a third perspective, like a knower or a watcher.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And that came over a wash of peace, like
Yeah.
as if my sense of identity had shifted from thoughts, self-image, and then
Mm.
on day 4 and 5 I kind of shifted my identity, like physical identity, and then by days 8, 9, and 10 I was completely expanded, and I felt like I wasn't in a particular location. There
Mm.
was a sense of locationless to my being
Yeah.
that was quite a transformative experience. And then the problem is then when you finish 10 days of silence, you have to go back into society and start functioning again.
Yeah.
And you're talking to shopkeepers and you're booking taxis and you're on the phone, and that piece is kind of like washed away a little bit, and you go
Yeah.
back into
When
but
I've done 3 weeks of Breatharian practice, you get
wow.
into this state
Yeah,
of you can't really function in the world, and you are high, and that's why we do have to eat, because it does keep us grounded.
that's right. Yeah,
But when you're in that space, it's like, oh my gosh.
yeah.
You think you've got everything sorted. Then you start eating again and it's all like
Yeah, yeah. So how was your breatharian training? How did you find it?
so I did a few different types, and it is fantastic, because you really realize how just eating is an addiction, that you can actually live on prana.
Yeah,
Now I did dry fasting too, and that didn't sit right with me.
Mhm,
So another type I did was like 3 weeks of water, and it was fantastic.
mhm.
Absolutely amazing.
So it's just water and breath.
Just water, yeah, water. Yeah, that's
Water,
it.
breath, the sunlight, just
Exercise, we went out hiking every day.
wow.
Some days you'd have no energy,
Mhm.
but most of the time you were.
Switched on.
But by the third week, I was like, what am I going to cook when I when I'm finished? I'm like looking at all the recipes of. But it is, and I really need to do that again, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, on January the 1st this year, I'm going to go 3 weeks. I'm going to do the first 3 weeks of January, and I'm just going to cut everything out.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to some soft fruits, some
Yeah. Yeah.
nuts and fruits for a couple of weeks. I know
Good
by
idea.
the first week I'll feel amazing. By
Yeah.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So going back to what you're going to be doing now, can people reach out to you? Are you going to be giving any workshops or anything in the future about how to untangle yourself from the corporate law system and get your power back?
Yeah, so the decision I'm having to make, because I always thought I'd go into mental health, emotional
Yeah.
intelligence, spiritual development. But it seems that there is a huge market for this law knowledge at the moment. And given the way the world is at the moment
Yeah.
and the amount of enslavement that we're living through, I think it's really important that everyone knows their liberties, their rights, their freedoms,
Yes.
and maybe that is the direction I have to go in. So yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to push that.
I
I've
think at the moment it is so vital
so
that
important.
people claim back their power.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise we're just going to go along with the ride, and that
Yeah.
and the ride is heading in a very weird place. So let's.
Yeah.
I'm looking to do more podcasts, more interviews, and
Yeah.
make documentary series. Do an online academy thing so people can get the basic structure and
Yeah.
understand. And in a
And
way,
people can listen to you on TikTok.
yeah, TikTok is Chris_Edward_life,
Mhm.
and I have an Instagram, but I think I'm just going to stick with TikTok. It's
Yeah. Do you know what? It is. I find it so much better.
yeah, TikTok's a great platform, and it's got a lovely community on there. It seems to
Yeah.
be very enthusiastic and very willing to give feedback and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's really good. So in the new year, I have a workshop called The Art of Happiness that we've been working on.
Great.
It's on the 16th of January,
Hmm.
just north of London. And me and my
Okay.
friend are
Is it
doing.
in
We'll
person?
be doing. Yeah, it's going to be in person. It's
Yeah.
going to be me and Tijan. We're going to do some meditation, some conscious connecting, eye gazing. We're going to do
Good.
some sound healing.
Yeah.
Then we're going to do some empowerment stuff. Also, we're going to talk about beliefs and limiting belief structures, how we can push through them.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about trauma and all the different methods, techniques, and stuff like that we can do to elevate ourselves to higher levels.
Yeah.
Um,
Keeping
yeah,
ourselves positive in this time is so important.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's fundamentally the most important part of our experience, because if we can vibrate at a vibration of love and peace, then that has ramifications in the world around
The
us. So,
Time Lords can't get to us.
no, we are impenetrable. We're not even on the radar.
No. No. So you traveled back recently, and how was your travel experience?
It was excellent. It was really good. Me and my good friend Paul, we left in June. We went to Europe and we did 20, maybe 26, 28 different cities in 6 months. And we traveled
Brilliant.
around playing flamenco music. We did a lot of street performances
Yeah.
and gypsy jazz and classical and film scores and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And we ended up meeting some incredible people on the road.
Yeah.
We've made friends all over Europe now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And but it was an incredible experience. But now it's time. I've come home. I literally feel like I've been called to come home. I woke up one morning and my intuition was like, your tour is over, you're heading home. And so I booked a flight and came back to England.
I did the same. I was heading to Mexico because I had to get out of the States. And all of a sudden it was, no, I've got to be back in England actually. And because of, I'd been at the back of my mind thinking I need to be in the land of my birth where I am a free person. They can't take that away from me. If I'm in another country, yeah, they can always deport me, but they can't deport me from here.
No.
And this is where I can have my sovereignty.
Yeah. This is where there's a lot of people that can come together who believe in the same ideals.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I feel like I came home, because if whatever's going to happen in the next 6 months to 1 year, I know that I've got brothers and best friends here I can rely on. I've got my mum I need to look after, and my brother.
Yeah.
And there are just more people in terms of connections
Yeah.
in England than anywhere else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, I think that's really important. I think we should be making good relationships leading
It's
into.
going to be the new Reformation.
Let's do it.
Yeah, totally. So everyone join in.
Join the community. Get on TikTok and let's build this. And
Yes.
someone the other day was telling me that given the subject matter that we talk about on TikTok, that it would be good to start a Telegram group with everyone as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Just because we don't know whether TikTok will, their social media at the end of the day, they have the controlling power to make accounts disappear.
Exactly. And I had something taken down the other day for violating guidelines. So yes, please set up a Telegram group.
Yeah, I'm going to start promoting it on my TikTok. So people who want to jump over to there, we can get thousands and thousands of people into a Telegram group.
Yeah.
And then we can, if the TikTok does ever vanish one day, we can always just continue the teachings and knowledge experiences on the TikTok, on the Telegram.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, so just spreading the community in other places.
So at the end of the day, what do you think this reality is all about? Why are we having this existence?
The sole purpose of this existence is that our soul, our consciousness, may expand. Mm-hmm. And it's the only reason physical manifestation exists. It's actually the original intention of the creator to expand consciousness, to know itself more and more and more.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you get to the point where you realize that your five senses, your five physical senses, are the instrument through which your consciousness can interpret physical reality. And you find those five senses have a centralized point where it becomes your physical body is one sense. Mm-hmm. And it is electrical data that's being interpreted by the witness or the awareness that sits silently behind consciousness. And in doing so, you realize that the fabric of space-time is made up of electrical particles, and it's a hologram, essentially. Mm-hmm. And that it doesn't mean it's not valuable, and it's wonderful and beautiful and amazing and valuable, but it's not real, ultimately. No. It can't be considered real because the source of all of this is real. It's ultimate reality.
We feel it. Even though it's a hologram, it's like that's the mind fucker.
Yeah, that's right. And you'll find that when you've had transcendental experiences and you've left physical reality and you felt the absolute reality of existence, when you come back into this experience, you realize the unreality of it. Like the Buddhists say that it's the illusion, the Maya in Hinduism.
Yes, yeah. And the Aboriginal dream time.
Yeah, it's a dream fabricated by consciousness. And I know it smells and tastes amazing, but it's not real. It's not a real experience.
And what I love about TikTok is some of the great information that you can get. There was this Freemason drawing the, how the hologram works. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's the fabric of space-time. It's electrical. It's made of photons, and all of the atoms in the universe are being magnetized together through the law of vibration, which gives it a seemingly physical.
Yeah.
But it's only vibrating particles of light.
Yeah.
How wonderful! It's like realizing this is one of the greatest liberations because you stop taking it so seriously.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that we don't have to fight for our rights and stand up for ourselves, but it's whether we do or we don't, it's still going to be just ticking along.
It is a game. It's all a big game.
I had a really amazing experience in
Yeah.
India where I was guided through a guided meditation to my death. And the guy guided me all the way into my 80s. And he
Yeah.
says, listen, you're 84, you're on your deathbed, you're taking your final breaths, and you are coming to the realization that this entire experience as Chris is coming to an end.
Mm.
Did you grow your soul or did you not grow your soul? If you did only that, then your soul is so happy, and
Yes,
everything else is just temporal anyway, it's temporary.
absolutely.
So you have to say goodbye to the people and the friends and the job and the career and the everything, the money, the houses. But the one thing that you will gain is the experience of expansion.
Yeah. Did you hear about the nadi palm leaves that were
No.
written 5,000 years ago in India, and everybody's existence is written on them with all the key dates of your life, when you're going to die.
Oh,
All written, so you can get someone to look it up for you in India, and I've always been tempted.
oh, that would be great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 80s. I think 80s is for me. Most of my grandparents lived to their 70s. So
Yeah. And that's what we talk a lot about in our trainings, is physical immortality, and how the life insurance industry knows approximately when you will die based on your same-sex parent or grandparent. So,
yeah,
you know,
it's
it's all sewn up. And so what we encourage people is okay, you do need to be a master to materialize and dematerialize, but just extend your life.
yeah.
I
Just
met a 2,000-year-old yogi in
oh,
India.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
he disappeared in front of me, and I was like,
They're just messing with you. Yeah, I mean the yoga, the
what?
autobiography of Yogananda, when his master is appearing and disappearing in different ways.
Exact autobiography of a yogi, spot on. But one iris was brown, the other iris was like a clear quartz crystal, and I'm like looking at this iris going, this is mad.
Yeah, it's when you understand that this is a hologram,
Mm,
you realize that it really is. It's not just something you like the idea of, and
yeah.
you go through the process of coming to terms with it and accepting it and
Hmm.
understanding its
Yeah.
simplicity and its complexity.
Yeah.
Then the idea of someone materializing and dematerializing is just a normal thing to expect, because
Yeah.
why wouldn't you be able to do that?
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, Chris. And please connect with him on TikTok, because his information is so vital at this time. And there is more coming. There'll be more information sessions. And so join up. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, everyone.